August marked 400 years since the first enslaved Africans reached American shores at Point Comfort, known today as Fort Monroe in Hampton, Virginia. Many are learning about that history while commemorating its painful past. From the Washington Cathedral to Atlanta, Georgia, bells rang out across the country, marking the 400th anniversary of the first Africans who arrived as slaves on the shores of Virginia.
They were enslaved while they were on the White Lion. When they disembarked, there was no status for them at that point in time. So they were traded for food stuff, and two of them, they were secured in terms of property by William Tucker, who was the commander.
Historian Bill Wiggins says those two enslaved people, Anthony and Isabella, were Catholics from Angola, who later became husband and wife, although not legally.
In 1623, they bore the first African documented child in English-occupied North America. That child, William Tucker, named after Captain Tucker in honor of him, was baptized in the Second Kecoughtan Anglican Church.
This Hampton Cemetery is where some say members of that first family are buried. Wanda Tucker believes William Tucker was her ancestor.
400 years later, we're telling these stories, and we need to be acknowledged for our contributions for the building of America.
Thousands recently gathered here to reflect on the country's dark past. Terry Brown serves as the superintendent for the Fort Monroe National Monument. He says all Americans of all races should consider the importance of this anniversary.
To be in a place where the first Africans landed, I can't explain to you the emotion that brings up. I mean, I've struggled with this at times because they landed in the same spot I work in.
Hundreds of years after those first slaves arrived here, this same peninsula became a refuge for enslaved people during the Civil War.
The first three men that escaped to freedom came here to Fort Monroe at the outbreak of the Civil War. 10,000 enslaved people followed them to what they called Freedom's Fortress.
Meanwhile, many hope that freedom continues to pave the way for greater healing for our nation's future.
If a nation can hear our plight and our journey and our accomplishments, maybe on some level, in some small way, we begin to humanize each other and we begin to heal this nation.
Charlene Aaron, CBN News.